everyone, welcome back to Let's Code to be a Java Programmer. Today is day 23 of our coding journey. In today's session, we'll cover three important topics: multidimensional arrays, the Math.random of method, and the enhanced for loop in Java. Let's dive in. Okay, so as we see in yesterday's class about arrays, how would the structure of arrays be usually? It would be like this, right? Like a block of boxes arranged together, and inside this we have one, two, three, four, any numbers, right? So this is our array. So this is basically called as array. Now what if I need another box like this? Something like this, same as this. But I wanted to store some other set of values like 4, 5, 6, 7. Also, I need another box. So let me choose another box here. Okay, so I'll be giving some other different set of values here. 1, 0, 7, 8. Okay. Now, instead of giving these arrays separate array blocks, what if I keep this arrays inside an array? So this is basically known as arrays of array. Shall we call it like that? Arrays of arrays. Array of arrays. Okay. So this array of arrays is known as multidimensional array. So this is basically called as multidimensional arrays. And also, as we seen in the earlier class, this is how we usually create a new array, right? Int a square brackets to represent the array, followed by new keyword and then int and the number of integers. Now what if I need to create this number of arrays? Now of course this number of arrays has the index values, will be have the index values like this: 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. So how will I now indicate this value, the position of this index value? Now if I have only this array, then I'll indicate this position as 0, right? Now how I will indicate this position value of this value 1? I'll be indicating it as 0, 0. Now how I will be indicating the position value of this 7? We have two 7s, but what if I need to locate this particular 7? So I'll give the index value as 2, 2, because it's at the second row and at the second column. Okay, so this is how we'll be indicating it. And the multidimensional arrays syntax will be like something like this. Here for normal array we'll be putting single brackets. Since it's a multidimensional array, we have rows and columns. We have first square bracket to indicate the rows and the second square bracket to indicate the columns. And inside this we can put how many ever rows we want. So 2 rows, 3 rows and 4 columns we have, right? So 3 rows and 4 columns. This is how it is. Now let us see this in the program, how to generate values and all those things. Now let me remove this. Okay. Now let's say I have the array of num. And with the new keyword int, and inside this we can allocate. Now let's allocate the same values, 3 rows and 4 columns. Okay. Now how will we print this array? So yesterday we printed this normal array using for loop. Now how will we print this array, multi-dimensional array? Since because we have two different values, right? The rows and columns. So for that, let's use the nested for loop. So first it will be printing the row. So int row is equal to 0. So initially the row index value of the row will be 0, right? And then the row must go till 3. And row will get incremented. Okay, next after row the columns. So int call equal to 0, of course that is also 0, but since we have 4 columns we get as 4 and call plus plus. Okay, so here we print the value system.out.println. We'll be printing num of. So here we'll be printing row and column. So of course num of 0 comma num of 0 of 0 gives us the first element in this overall multidimensional array, right? So this is how this works. Now let me just check whether it's running or not. Compile it. Compilation is successful. Now let's run it. That's perfect. But since we have given this print ln, it's printing in the new line. Now let's print it like this. Let's concatenate some space in between. And here again let's give the new line so that when it goes to the new row, it prints in the next line. Control S. Now let's compile and run. That's so awesome. Make it clear. Okay. Now since it's empty values, now I need to feed it with some values, right? Now with what values will I feed? Since that was a single array, I was just directly adding values, something like this, right? A of 0 will be. So I was just directly assigning it values. But now since it's multidimensional arrays, we have 3 rows and 4 columns, and manually entering arrays is a little bit tough. So since it's for example, let me just use the Math.random function. Let this a get the Math.random values. So this Math.random methods generates random values. And what the problem here is, this Math.random produces only double values, that to the values between 0 to 1. So I'm typecasting here. So since it is double, we are adding int. We are typecasting the double integer into int. Okay, Control S. Now let's print this A and C. Print ln. Control S. Now it should work. Sorry, I didn't compile it. Yes. Since it's producing values between 0 to 1, and since I am typecasting it into int, it gives us the random integer as 0. Now let me multiply that value into 100. Now let's see what value now it's printing. 52. That's great. Okay. Now this 52 is printing here, but for each time, for 0, 0 I need to give one random value. For 0, 1 I need to print another value. So where should I keep this? So where it would be correct to call this? So let me copy this statement and then where, let it be somewhere here. Let's check, and here the number of row and column should print 8. Control S. Let's try print ln of A. Okay, so it's correct. Let's see. Now fine. 13, 13, 13, 27, 27, 27. Okay, it's giving me same values throughout. So it should be okay. So for each row, it's giving me the same value. So let me call this method outside. Now let's check. Throughout, it's giving the same value if I keep it out. So if I keep this inside this column, it must be correct. Let's check it. 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. Okay, now let's see what the problem is. Okay, since we are putting it in the random, so it should be called each time. Only then it will generate a new value. Since we have given it inside a fixed variable, the same variable gets placed in throughout. Okay, so when it gets called each time, it prints each different value. I hope this time it should work. That's great. Since I didn't left space here, it's a little clumsy. Mm-hmm. It's not accepting this one. Control S. Now let's compile. That's awesome. So this is how we'll be using the Math.random method, and also we got introduced to multidimensional arrays. Now let's see how to use the enhanced for loop. Now what is enhanced for loop is, its syntax is little different. Since we are using completely arrays, what it does is, now let's say, sorry, actually this must be outside. Okay, now this array must be created outside. I don't know how it came. So let me remove this and check it 1 second. Okay, now it's clear. Since I have created this array inside this, I wouldn't have been able to use it once again down there. So that's the problem. So how this syntax of this for loop will be is int n colon of num. Now num is the array which we are creating, and n is the rows. Okay, so since we have used here row for 0, here I'm using the n value, and int n, int m. So let m be the columns. So int m of n. Now what this indicates is the m value, that is the column value of the row n, will print as okay. Now let's see what it happens. Okay, it's showing array error. Let's see what the error is. Incompatible int. Okay, I must have used your array. Inside the num array, this is an array, right? So I have must use there. So it's an syntax error. So that's what it is. Control S. Now let's run and see. We have one more error here. Num n, or the error is okay. So for this we are not supposed to print it like this, okay? Instead we must print only m. And you know why the error is? Okay, let me give clear. Control S. Okay, so it has printed the same values, but let's see what happened here. So inside the multidimensional array num, it has taken the only the n, and of course it will be 0 initially, and in that n it has taken each m. So m basically refers to the column, so first n would be 0 and m would be 0. Obviously it would print the m value, and then a space, again the m value, that is 26, 97, 22, then it would come out. So this is how this enhanced for loop works. Thank you. That's all for day 23. Today we learned about multidimensional arrays, the Math.random method, and the enhanced for loop in Java. These are powerful tools that will help you manage and manipulate data more effectively in your programs. Thank you for joining me on day 23 of Let's Code to be a Java Programmer. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified about our daily coding sessions. See you tomorrow for day 24. Happy coding!